I've owned quite a few Magneto on throne statues. This one is the one I'm keeping. Not necessarily because it's the best, but because I'm a size queen.
Give it to you. Wait for you to get it on your own.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning into the Extreme channel. We're about extreme collectibles, and this may be as extreme as you get. This is a custom quarter scale Magneto on throne Sentinel statue. Let me break all that down for you. Custom, it's a private unlicensed commission. They made a very small run of these. It's not endorsed by Disney, who owns Marvel. 2, quarter scale. In real life, everything would be 4 times bigger. 3, Magneto. He's the quintessential X-Men anti-villain because sometimes he's on their side, sometimes he's not. And Sentinel, that is one of the main enemies of mutants in the Marvel Universe. They hunt down and kill mutants, but as you can see, Magneto kicked this Sentinel's ass, made it its throne, and I'm so happy to have this. There's so much to talk about. So I've been involved in this project as a buyer for about 5 years, maybe a little bit longer. And the original seller of this ended up being a scammer, and I think I lost about $600 to $800 on that project. And everybody got screwed who had this on pre-order. And then another custom commissioner came out, and he really liked the concept. He was able to get a hold of the file, and I've worked with this custom commissioner. When I say worked with, given him $30,000 to $40,000 in statue purchases in the past. He said he's going to do this project, and I was instantly in. And it took at least 2 years, maybe a little bit longer, but here he is, and it is glorious. Not without its faults, and we're going to discuss that in the review today. And you might have caught the live unboxing. We're going to come back to that. But it's here. It's finally here. This is the first place that it was in the collection, and it's going to be the last place. And let me describe what I meant in the intro of me being a size queen. This is the one I'm keeping because it's just, there's no way I can get rid of this. It's just too big.
That's what she said.
So you see a few things, like a few pieces, but so much to cover. Let's start talking about it, and we're going to start out with concept as we usually do, which is what makes this so great. I remember when they first showed renders of this, the digital sculpt, people thought there's no way this could exist. There's no way this could be real in statue form. And here it is. So you see what Magneto's done. He's torn the Sentinel apart, and it looks like just Sentinel parts all over. Some of them are pretty obvious, but you see a lot of pipes, wires, coils, lights, other things. And he has made it into a throne for himself. He's actually sitting in the mouth of it, which is pretty cool. Some of the parts, like I said, are really obvious. You obviously see 2 giant hands on the right and left. He's sitting in the mouth of it. You see him sitting there, very glorious, magnanimous. Although an interesting thing, I don't think all the Sentinels were metal. They were at one time, and then they figured out Magneto could easily destroy them. So that doesn't really make sense, but we're going to ignore that because it takes away from the cool concept. And then this particular Sentinel, it's not all just Sentinel parts. You see some other things. You see some irons here, maybe from a bridge or from concrete that he shoved into the head. Maybe that's how he destroyed it. But now it's his throne. He's sitting there like a badass. And you'll also see that he was holding Cerebro, so Xavier's helmet. And maybe this means he killed Xavier as well. We don't know. Typically, when the Sentinels were attacking the mutants, he teamed up with the X-Men because they were all targets. So this could be the end of the world, and we typically see this with throne pieces. We see, even you can see one next to it, and this is in the middle of my throne collection, which recently I started doing room tours. You can actually check those out right here. Here's kind of an overview, and then we're doing more in the upcoming days. With a throne, they have conquered the world. It's kind of the end. They've defeated their enemies. So that is captured here in quite possibly, actually, I'm going to say it, the coolest Sentinel piece ever. If you recall, I have a lot of X-Men vs. Sentinel pieces. I just want to call out some of the big ones. I had a few more than this, but I had a Magneto that was throwing a Sentinel head. I had the Colossus tearing apart the Sentinel head. Rogue ripping the Sentinel head in half. It wasn't exclusive to heads either. Here was Iceman freezing that Sentinel hand. Cyclops using the optic blast on this hand. And who can forget one of my first statue reviews, this Magneto on Sentinel hand. But to me, this is a throne statue. That's why it's going in my throne display. So I give the concept a 5 out of 5. Because the other thing about this is, I mentioned at the beginning, there's been a lot of Magneto on Thrones. Some of those were Sentinels, and I've owned quite a few. Let's take a look down memory lane really quick. First, you have the one that you've actually been looking at right next to it. This is made of different parts, not a Sentinel, and we'll talk more about this in a little bit in a future video. Then you have XM Studios Magneto on Sentinel hand. This is an OG, one of the originals. It was amazing. And then I had this custom one that I reviewed for somebody that was actually broke on the front, but very cool. So as we talk about design, allegedly all of those were the same scale as this, but as you can see, significant size differences. It would crack me up to put the XM Studios one, which I no longer own, next to this. But let's try and get some dimensions, and you can get a NAS shot of me here. Looks like the widest part from fingertip to fingertip is probably 31 inches. If you're trying to get measurements for a display cabinet, probably give it an extra 2 or 3 inches. The deepest part is going to go probably 35 inches. Again, I'd give yourself a little bit more. And the tallest part might be over here. I'm going to say at least 34 inches. So it takes up a lot of space. Now, I mentioned that I did an unboxing video. I did a live video. I did that spur of the moment. And interesting thing is, I don't know why I did it. I thought you guys would just enjoy it. So you can actually check that out right here. But here is the huge crate and boxes that it came in. So it was a giant crate shipped by freight, as you see here. Thankfully, the crate was nice. It had hinges and buckles, so easy to open. And on the inside were 3 boxes, really, really tight, hard to get out.
Hey, that's what she said.
Custom black foam and straps on all of them. It did come with an art print that's based off the statue. I didn't have a need for this, so I put it back in the box. But here's the first layer, a few of the Sentinel pieces. Second layer, the hand of the Sentinel, Magneto, some of his portraits we're going to look at. And then tons of random pieces, his cape, parts that you probably saw during the unboxing right here. And I take these pictures in case I ever need to box it back up, or if other collectors need to box it back up. And then there's the huge base. So if you watched that video, you may remember that there was about 4 wires like this. 3 of them, we have an idea where they go. 1 of them, we have no idea. But otherwise, despite a not very good assembly video, everything fits fantastic. There's not a lot of different display options. What they have is they have 3 different portraits. So I'm going to show those. But before I do, I have to let you know the custom commissioner, when he saw what they looked like delivered, and not mine, but some other collectors, he wasn't happy with them. So he's having different ones shipped out. So when we get to paint and sculpt and you see some close-up video, keep that in mind. But first you have an unmasked or unhelmeted version, if you will. Now something that's really unique is when you have the helmeted versions, which there's 2 of them. One where he has whited out eyes, which is my favorite. And one where he doesn't have whited out eyes. What is really interesting is you have this small little hair piece that goes on the back of the neck. And it never occurred to me in the dozen or so Magneto statues I've ever owned that whenever you have the helmeted version, you don't really get to see the back of the hair. So it's very smart that they did that. Now, in theory, you could remove Cerebro's helmet, and there's a small keyhole in his hand that you wouldn't see. And then there is a light-up feature. Again, if you watch the live assembly, this piece, you have to remove a few pieces, and this piece comes off. There's a very handy button up here. However, it takes a battery that nobody knows what it is. I'm sure somebody does. I just don't. It is about the girth of a AAA, but it's shorter than a AAA. So it's not a CR123. I don't even know what it is, so I don't know what to shop for, so I can't show you the light-up feature, which sucks because there's a really convenient button up here. And it's wired into the whole thing, and I bet you it's fantastic. So I'm actually going to give it a little bit of a negative. Some other things about the design, if you watch the unboxing, and you don't have to, but a lot of this is just useless. Like you have this little piece right here. This doesn't really add to it. I mean, I wouldn't have looked at this and noticed it was missing. I wouldn't have looked at this and said, oh, this piece makes it absolutely amazing. So sometimes less is more, especially when you already have more. But with that, you have to understand this was an incredibly ambitious project, and they actually pulled it off. So I give it a 4 out of 5 on the entire design. Paint and sculpt. This group, in my opinion, they're hit and miss, with their hits probably 80% of the time and their misses 20% of the time, which is a fantastic track record in my opinion. This one, I wouldn't say it's a miss by any means. It is definitely good, but it's not the best piece they put out with paint and sculpt. I would definitely say above average, above the competition. But I think part of that is me having owned probably 24 Sentinel statues and a dozen Magneto statues. But I do like some differences. Check it out. We're going to look at the portraits first, even though I did tell you there's new ones coming. He wasn't as satisfied, I think, with the paint job, and I see that a little bit. Starting with the unmasked one, the eye decals I'm not a fan of. I don't ever plan to display this for a few different reasons. I think I have some other good unmasked ones, like that one right there. But the hair looks good. I think there's a decent flow to it. Skin color is fine. He always seems a little bit more tan, and I'm not sure why. And then there's different... I think the expression of his face is a little interesting. I don't think it matches the scene that's going on. The portrait I do intend to display is this one right here. I really like it. It shows the anger, shows the power. And again, I think they're redoing all the portraits. I always like it when they do a shine on his helmet. I don't want to shine on his body, just the helmet together. Now, one of the really interesting things they did with his outfit is obviously they texturized most of it, which typically you see a part of it. Usually you see on the side abs here. But then in between, they have the separator on his uniform, and it's very thick. It's a lot thicker than you typically see. And then really dark indentions in the muscles. For some reason, every statue creator over-muscularizes Magneto. And we do see that in some of the comics. So here's a slab up here. You can see, look at. So there's comic basis for that, even though he is an older guy. I do like the metal on the gauntlets around him. That's obviously how he flies with his metallic belt and the harness around his cape. Speaking of his cape, I'm not a fan. I'm glad he's sitting on it. It looks cheap. I do appreciate how it folds over. That's very realistic. Now, within the Sentinel, there's so much to look at, and I think some of it is amazing. Some of the jumbled mess I really like. Like, for example, right here, how this hand is split open and there's so much circuitry and wires coming out. I think that looks perfect. And, what's great is the hands are not the same on both sides. So you see that tiny little ball. So that's kind of where the Sentinel fires out of. Almost think of Iron Man's repulsors. Then you see it over here not as damaged. That's very cool. A lot of continuity with the statue. But then you see some parts like this over here. Not done as well, in my opinion. And same thing, there's almost like some thrusters down here. I think that the color is... They almost missed some paint, in my opinion. Like the sculpt is there, but a little bit of the paint is missing. Now, thankfully, it's way down on the side. Although where I have it displayed, you have a pretty good view of the sides. The boxes are still over there. I haven't cleaned them up yet. I love the Sentinel head. I think they stayed true to a lot of what the other custom commissioner makers have been doing, kind of this style, which is kind of this comic take, and then you have this realism. I love how the eyes almost have this moving effect. I really wish I could see the light up feature, because I bet right behind there that lights up pretty nice as well. I like the choice of the blue hands. Reminds me of the 90s cartoon. So overall, kind of a mix on the paint and sculpt, but this group always does pretty good. Overall, I think I'm going to give the paint, I think it's a 3 out of 5. I think it's good. I think it's what I would expect out of this group. I expect a little bit higher. That's one of the problems, is when you consistently deliver better than your competition, people expect that. These sculpts, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5, actually. I really like it. I think they stay true to a lot of things, despite some of the jumbled mess that we talked about. Now we dive into value, and value is a really interesting thing in statue collecting in 2026, because the value that is actually, yeah, I did that. The value of this actually is in 2026. If this was 2020, it'd be a 5 out of 5 value. So I just dropped a piece and it didn't break. I think the early bird on this was $1,800. I paid all in to start. I didn't do any payment plans. And then shipping was $600, which wasn't bad for that crate. I just had another piece I paid for that's about this size, and I paid, I think, almost $900. About $2,500 all in on this. That's not bad at all. They made 76 of them. Like I said, in 2020, I bet you I could turn around and sell this for $3,000 to $4,000 easily. 2026, different story. And as I said in the beginning, I'm keeping this one just due to the size. It's too hard to resell. That's the honest truth of it. It's way too hard to resell. I don't even know if I'm going to keep the crate or not. I'm obviously going to keep all the boxes that were in the crate. I do have a couple storage units, so for now we will keep it in there. So as of today, with the economic conditions in 2026, I think the value is a 3 out of 5. I think I could get my money back, which is rare in the statue collecting community in 2026, because it is a very unique, amazing piece. Does this have the X factor? Is it a 5 out of 5 statue? It is. It's amazing. This definitely hit all the expectations I had. I love where I have it set at for now. As a spoiler, you can see a smaller one next to it. Make sure you've not only liked this video, but you sub to the channel and hit the bell notification, because we're going to do an Extreme Rumble. That is an Extrumble, where we compare these two. They're both Magneto and Throne, but they're kind of different concepts, so I think that'll be very exciting. We're also going to do a poll on YouTube. But in the meantime, we're giving away statues. So here's how to win one of those. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Yes, we're still giving away $1,000 statues at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. You have to make sure you're subbed to the channel, you like the video, and then leave a comment. We're going to pick a random comment on a random video and give away those statues. In the meantime, check out some of these other videos and my social media. Talk to you soon. Take care.